Hello, Ludo and Julija.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Here we
Hi.
are.
Yes. Yeah, so this is going to be a really interesting and unique interview because you guys are doing something that I find quite original. I don't think anyone is doing something like that on the same scale. Can you maybe explain, like for those who don't know you, what who you are and what you do, just in a few sentences?
Hey.
So tango-wise, we organize special double role tango events for people who dance for both roles of Argentine tango. And the exchange of roles and exchange of partners, so happening spontaneously. That's the main difference with normal or regular tango events.
Yes, and you're not only just organizing some events, like it's really a lot of events all over all over Europe. Um, and I think that's quite impressive, just the scale of it and the dedication to something like double roll dancing. And then you don't just do one marathon a year, but you do like all these events everywhere, and it's like seems pretty crazy to me, but somehow you pull it off. So that's good. It's very impressive.
Yes, so the idea is that Totally in Tango goes to local double role dance communities in a support. So we bring our international event to the local dance community, and the local dance community gets out of this a lot of motivation, a lot of recognition, a lot of fun also, and it motivates people to continue their path of dancing both roles. And so many times we are invited to go to places. Some participant or other writes us an email or on an event says, hey, I have this tango community and we have this type of school and we have that building and it would be nice if you could come. And then we go visit and see the place and we speak to the owners of the school and the association and we try to come to an agreement. And that's how it grows. Huh? You start with one, and then it's two and three, and then it's five, and now it's indeed 13 this year.
Yes, yes. Wow, that's really impressive, like I said. So can you maybe just to start from the beginning, can you maybe uh tell me something about who you guys are, where you're from, and how you started dancing?
So I'm from Belgium. I started dancing in the very, very, very early 2000s, or even the late 1900s. And in my dance school, there was one teacher who asked me on a practica, would you lead me? After a while, I said, would you lead me back? And this is how this double role thing started for me. And the motivation to start Totally in Tango, double role events, is partially out of a frustration that nobody ever invites me in the regular tango scene. I go to events, I dance as a leader all you want, but hardly ever anybody would invite me to dance as a follower. So I said, let's make it very clear. If I organize that type of events, people will know I can be invited as a follower as well. Did it work out that way? Not quite yet. Some people of our Totally Tango family will invite me to follow as well on another event, but still, it still is a hurdle or something that could improve or could change or could get better or I don't know what
So
to
you
say.
mean in the wider tango community in general? So
Yes,
at
like we
your
were,
events, you get what you want, so to say.
yes, our events, we get invitations for both roles very easily. But in regular events, we were in Frankfurt a couple of weeks ago, regular Sunday afternoon Milonga. And even with people from that had been to Totally in Tango, it did not happen that my partner would change role. And I'm not going to ask either. If the other wants to dance in the traditional setup, that's fine. What did you?
So as about yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah, I'm going to ask something about this later, but I think it's good if we discuss some other things first to get the fundamentals down of what your event looks like. So, can you indeed introduce yourself as well?
Yeah. So I'm Julija or Julija. I'm originally from Latvia, and it was more or less 2 or 3 years of tango for me before I met Ludo, one of the events. And,
local events, you mean
in the Baltic states.
Okay, yeah.
So it was one of the capitals in the Baltics, and we were both visitors there, and we danced, and we exchanged Facebook profiles. So then we met again after a month, and then again and again. So, and it ended up that I moved to Belgium. So it happened 10 years ago. And so we are happily married. Yeah. And in our first years of common life, of life together, we used to go to different tango events in the area, in Belgium, in Holland, in France. And every time we observed that every time there are some double role dancers. And this way, one day, so Ludo came with the idea, let's organize an event where all participants would dance both roles. Yeah. And the first event took place in
2016.
2016.
June 2016.
In Belgium. And for the first event, I think we collected participants one by one, just by private invitation or by friends, and we came with
70.
With about 70 participants for the first event, and it was quite an experience.
And then on this first event, in my closing speech, I invited the participants to speak to their local community, and if they wanted a similar event at their home place, to contact me. And 3 months later, I got a call from Scala in Eindhoven saying, "Yeah, Ludo, we will een weekend double rollen." So that was the first invitation in September 2016.
Yes, that's also the first time I actually heard about it. May not be in 2016, but in that place. Like I haven't been there, but I heard about it. So that's quite interesting.
So we've been already 4 times to Scala,
and
we're going back in April next year.
Sorry,
We're going back in April next year.
In April next year. Okay. And Julija, could you tell me a bit, like, did you have any affinity with double role dancing yourself in the past?
Yes, I did. I think I was making my first steps as a leader when I met Ludo, and he was pretty enthusiastic to be my follower. That was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
But is
I
that
was
also
pretty about anything, huh?
Come on.
But is that also like how you first met, dancing like that, or did you just dance traditionally?
We danced traditionally. It was on a traditional event, and maybe we changed role once during that traditional event, but it was, for me, a trip, an interesting trip to a world that I had no knowledge of. Really, everything was new for me. And then I meet some dancers from another part of the Baltics where I wanted to go. So it was very interesting weekend for me.
Yes, and but you did not expect to do any double role dancing there.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, okay.
I went without expectations and I came back with a home, with a wife. So
That sounds like a good deal. Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, maybe we should have no expectations more often in life than like we cannot get disappointed and maybe we end up with a great result. So, but
Absolutely.
yes, well, I'm just kidding, of course. But what I'm wondering, we're like back then, we're like, I think in Holland I saw women leading, but how about Latvia and Estonia? Like how was it common for women to start leading? Like it sounds like maybe a more conservative kind of country than here in Holland. So I don't know. I was curious about that.
Well, nowadays there are many girls leading. The training to lead and whether they do it on traditional events, that is maybe not always the case, but many girls started to lead.
We were in the Baltic countries last year. We had a little
road trip
with
Totally in Tango group
from Helsinki to Tallinn to Riga. And in the local milongas that we visited, as we were there with already a large group of double role dancers, yes, we saw quite a lot of local people dance both roles.
So you would say it's generally becoming more common?
It is little by little becoming a little bit common, yes.
And it's this is true not only for the Baltic countries, but also for other even more traditional or conservative countries like Spain, for example. So, you know, we're in contact with a growing community in Malaga.
And Granada. And also there are weekly classes for double role dancers. They have practicas. So it is there as well, a growing community.
Yes. So essentially, so if I can remind the listeners of what it's all about, essentially you have been setting up a network across all of Europe of events that are not necessarily local, but they still try to activate like a local scene in becoming more flexible about roles. Is that a right summary?
Yes.
Yes.
And the events can be very different. Sometimes the event is very focused on learning. There will be a lot of classes offered. Sometimes it's more about just dancing. Sometimes it's cultural aspects that will be highlighted and dancing. So we offer all kinds of events all through Europe, indeed, from Spain to Sweden and anything in between.
So you've just been back from another event that you organized in France. So it would be quite interesting to hear a bit about it now that it's so recent.
Yes, so last weekend we had an event in Nice. We were with 103 participants. We had invited Celine and Alexis to give classes during the event. And it was a real blast, to be honest.
So we had participants from many countries. Half or third was from France?
Yes.
And other let's say 3/4, how many? 2/3 from elsewhere in Europe, even from the US. in
Canada.
Canada. And for international visitors, it was of course very interesting to be in Nice, to enjoy this
particular atmosphere of the city.
and being on vacation. And at the same time, you are in a totally tango weekend. So you can dance with everyone in both roles in a very relaxed, friendly atmosphere with many old friends and having new contacts with people from local scene or from elsewhere.
And in this event, we had also organized a guided tour on Friday of the old city. And on Monday, we went to a museum with the people who were still there. So it was a complete package.
So it's classes and milongas pretty much.
Yes.
And some weekends are different than others, you said. So sometimes it's only milongas, sometimes it's more classes. Like, is there a difference?
Often we offer group classes that are included. And oftentimes we also have classes, extra classes. If you have like 10 or 12 hours of classes over the weekend, then you cannot have as many dancing hours. So sometimes it's also an event of a week, sometimes it's only a weekend, sometimes it's 4 days or 5 days. Any format goes. We're not stuck on a particular format. We adjust to the possibilities, to the needs, to what is asked in the community.
Yes, sometimes our local partners, like a tango association, they ask especially to bring some teachers, which would also be helpful for the local students. Sometimes it's a request from our partners, but sometimes we just do not have enough room in space or in time to include some lessons.
Yes. So there's a lot that you want to do, but you cannot do everything at once, right? I mean, it's pretty logical.
Yes. Yeah. And there's even more that I wish I could realize, but there's not enough months in the year. Right?
Maybe you should clone yourself. Then you have an extra couple of Ludo and Julija to organize even more. But I understand it's like time is limited, right? Time and energy are limited. But I think it's already incredible how much you're doing with just 2 people.
Thank you.
Yes. So you're doing this. Are you doing this as a job, or do you have a job on the side, or?
It's a job. It's our full-time commitment. Next to that, we also do some catering for tango events. And since very recently, we have a movable dance floor that we can rent out.
Oh, that's interesting. So
Yeah.
you're kind of entrepreneurs in a way.
Yes, we are a whole package. You have a dance floor,
Whole
you have
package, yeah.
a cook, and you have 2 leaders and 2 followers, all in one.
Yes. Wow. Yes. So like I said, it's quite an original case, and to do an interview about this because I haven't seen anything like this honestly before. So I think it's like I said, it's quite impressive. Can you tell me, like these events, are they like marathons or encuentros, or are they different? Is it with registration, limited places? Do you select people? Like all these questions.
Okay. It's with limited places because I do not like our participants to be sardines in a tin box. I like to have space, enough space because we all come with different levels in our both roles. And I want everybody to be comfortable. So yes, the places are limited. Do we select? No. When the registration is open and you can fill in a registration form, you are sure to be in. I have never refused anybody. Do we select? Yes. You have to be open to dance both roles.
Yes.
Otherwise, there's no point, no real point in you joining the event. Do you dance only one role, but you really want to come and you come with a friend who dances both roles? You're very welcome. I'm not excluding anybody either. And what else? Do we do for parity? No. We are looking for dancers. Whatever their gender is, if you like to dance, you're welcome. Do we have rules? Yes. We respect each other. We take care of each other. Are we very strict? No, because tango is freedom, and everybody has his own dance, and everybody is welcome at our events. I'm not going to say how you have to dance. As long as you have respect, you are very welcome. And I find this very important. Each of us has his own dance, and it's okay. Each dance is okay if it's within respect.
So sometimes people especially ask us, they say, we are only beginners, we just started. Can we come? Yeah, will we be welcome? Will we have space and partners to dance? And we always say yes. And especially our events are good to start, because your start will be.
It's a deep plunge.
Yeah.
It's a whole
Yeah.
weekend where
So
you can.
After
go
this
for it.
weekend, so in this weekend, people will build their confidence in dancing both roles, and that's how they will progress rapidly.
So did you mean beginners in just one role or beginners
No,
in everything?
Beginners in the second role.
Beginners in
Okay.
this, whatever that role is, be it leading or following. And we have many returning participants over the years. Even at the event of last weekend, for example, there were at least 5 participants that were there at this very first event in 2016. So yes, they have progressed a lot. They're not the same dancers anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they keep on coming because they like this family feeling. They like this feeling of giving back what they received when they were at their beginning stage and they came to their first Totally in Tango and they felt what it gave them. And that is one of the strengths of Totally in Tango. We really take care for each other.
Yes, that sounds good because it can be really intimidating to if you're already an experienced dancer to be a beginner again, and then like everyone wants to dance with you with the role you like in normal milongas or normal events. Everyone wants to dance with the experienced role you have, but then if you want to turn it around, it's more complicated sometimes because you're not of the same level. But you still have to learn, right? Like you need to get the opportunity to learn.
Absolutely. So Totally in Tango, it is not that Totally in Tango is only a learning place. Huh? I mean, it's just a place where each dance is welcome. And you can have a very nice dance, a very nice communication with different levels of vocabulary, with different levels of technical possibilities. As long as you have good respect for each other, you will find your common ground and you can have fun and it can be a wonderful dance.
So I think I misunderstood the part about the beginners. So do you think, do you also attract literal beginners? Or is that
No.
not really the, okay.
We attract people that are a beginner in one of their dance roles, but it doesn't happen that we have literal beginners
How come?
at our event.
Is there any reason for that?
Well, I think no, there's no special reason for that, but I think the people who are literally beginners in tango, they normally do not go to events. So
Yes.
they grow in the local community until they feel they're able to join an event.
Yes, yes.
A literal beginner will not invest the time, a full weekend, in tango. I mean, that comes after once you've been really infected with the tango virus.
Yes.
So it takes some time.
Yes. So if you look at your events, like you have a group that is mixed in level, because not everyone has the same level in both roles. But do you then see that these groups really mix with each other?
Yes.
Absolutely. At our events, our slogan is we all dance with each other. And it happens automatically. People get taken into the group very easily, the new people. It's very easy. You just lift your gaze and somebody will meet it. It's natural in Totally in Tango.
Yes. So
Also, if you have 100 people and dancers in a dance room and they're all double role dancers, you have 99 dance partners, not 50 like in a regular event. So that's already quite a lot.
yeah, so I have to say I enjoy that myself as well. Like I have never been to these events, but I enjoy it when I'm in a local scene like mine, and I can just dance in more ways than previously, because you can, with the same partner, you can have two different dances and not just one. So that sounds really interesting. What I think I understand from like the last 10 minutes or so, what you told about your event is that it's not quite the same as most encuentros or marathons. Like it seems like those are generally more like limiting in a way. Not all of them, but some are more like really force certain behavior on people, or dance styles, and but it seems like you have more like a counter movement against this. Like it's maybe a bit of a pretentious term to use, but it
We are an organic group of dancers that forms itself organically. Let's say it this way. We're not a counter movement against anything. We are just we. We are what we do, what we like to do, and that is to your taste or not.
And of course, there are still rules to be followed. So like entering ronda, not disturbing other dancers, and so on. So the normal tango rules, they're still here. So not that they're all gone.
We are not anarchists, far from.
okay.
But we welcome everyone.
Yes, yes. I think it's really interesting. Like I think you have a lot of things in common with, for example, an encuentro. But it's also maybe a bit more free, a bit more like it's so I think you have some positive traits in common, like respect for the ronda, and a certain dance level, of course, because you attract people who are more experienced dancers. But it's not like you tell people to dance in a really small space or something. Like it seems like if you dance more open, but you can still respect others, then it's more. I have limited experiences, but I think in marathons it could also be like that. That you have more, like you can dance more free, or you can use more space. I don't know, but
In a marathon, if it's full and it's peak hour, I hope you will go dance smaller also, and you only dance with a lot of space if at the late hours when there are less dancers. And when you said respect to ronda, yes, of course, within the limitations of the ability of the dancer. If you are a relative new to your second role as a leader, it's understandable that the ronda is still difficult for you and you might swerve a little bit. It's not bad. I mean, it comes with your lack of tango years, and you do your best to stick to the ronda, and that's good. So I'm not saying you have to. You try to your best abilities, and you do your best, and that's good.
yeah. So is it this? Sorry, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
And those who can, those who have experience, they will follow the ronda, yes, and they will take care not to bump into the one who has a little less experience and is not yet there, but who is trying his best, and that is fine. At
Yes.
our
It sounds like people are respectful of each other because they have like a common mindset. Like
yes,
they have a specific reason to be at these events, and they understand the trouble that someone else may have with the opposite role, because they have been dancing it for a very long time, and both roles have their own challenges. So it's a really interesting formula. Just one more thing about the marathon. What I said, I talked about the limited space, and then you said like, yeah, of course, if it's really busy on the floor, then you don't dance smaller. So is that also true at your events, or do you just have really big spaces, like bigger than marathons? Sorry, it's hard to compare maybe, but it's just what's going through my head right now.
for example, the event where we had our first Totally in Tango, it has twice a year a regular event with 140 dancers. I will not have more than 100 people in that same room for Totally in Tango, because that is for me when it's full. For me, for Totally in Tango, that is when everybody will have enough space to dance comfortably without having to be packed. So I always do in the same venue, I will allow less participants than another organizer might. And that is how I make sure we are having enough the space we need to accommodate those who are still in an earlier stage than the very advanced.
We are all in early stage and very advanced.
Yes. Go ahead.
So there's not a fixed number of how many people will be at an event. Huh? Sometimes it's 70 or 50 or 100 or maybe next year 150 for a room I have in mind or I have already reserved. So we will see. But I will make sure there's enough space for everyone. Not space being packed, but enough breathing space, enough square meters to be at ease.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It's you put a lot of thought in that, obviously,
Yes.
because
I
of
want people
yeah.
to be at ease.
Yeah,
And
and
calm.
yeah, if you have not very experienced leaders, then Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Like I noticed recently. Sorry, yeah.
Very experienced followers.
Yeah,
If a man who tries to follow for the first, second, third time or whatever, he goes everywhere, huh?
Okay.
I mean, let's not always speak about inexperienced leaders. The
Yes.
followers take their very experienced leaders with them because you know they don't have the access, they do not know how to pivot yet, whatever. Oh, it's okay. So we need a little bit more space, both of us.
So have your events been geared at like learning from the beginning? Like it's a bit of a difficult thing to say in words, but like for me to express. But it sounds like there was a clear mission to give people the space to comfortably dance with each other in double roles. But
Yes,
it does not. Sorry?
that was indeed the mission from the beginning. And how we fill this in, that varies. Sometimes it's with learning, but not always. Really, Totally in Tango is not meant to be only a learning ground. It's a place to dance in the first place, at the level you are. The learning should happen at home. And the motivation comes from doing what you can do, doing where you are, dancing there where you are. You don't have to wait 10 years before you can go to an encuentro or a marathon. You can have fun much sooner.
Yes.
Yes, and when you say to have fun, this is some speciality of Totally in Tango, that people are smiling, laughing, having fun. So it's a tango with a happy face.
Yeah, so what is some feedback that you've been hearing from your visitors? Because just to explain this question a bit more, this is quite a unique type of event, and it's like maybe again, like I said something before that wasn't correct, so please correct me if I don't say it the right way, but it sounds like it's almost has a bit of an idea of emancipation in it. Like ultimately you want double role dancing to become very normal even in local scenes, when it isn't always the case yet. So what are some of the things you've heard from the people who visit you about how they can be how they can find something, for example, that they cannot find somewhere else, or yeah.
Do I read an email I received yesterday that somebody wrote to me after her first visit to the Hamburg event in March?
Oh, but actually, every single event, there's someone coming and saying to us that that was the very best event in her or his tango experience. So it's a normal reaction for Totally in Tango event.
So I'm gonna read you a little email I received a couple of days ago. Dear Julia and dear Ludo, finally, it takes the spring breeze from here for me to get around to sending you my words of thanks to you. It was a wonderful weekend in Hamburg in March, and my first and lasting impressions of TIT was very beautiful and heartwarming. I was able to learn a lot in my fresh role as a leader and, above all, with lots of laughter and enjoyment, including culinary delights, of course. I'm very much looking forward to further events and would like to thank you very much for sharing your vision and your commitment down to the last detail. Best wishes from Basel and maybe, hopefully, see you in the next one. Greetings from. That's an example of feedback that we get after or during an event.
And now it came to my mind the other very common feedback is a person feels that motivated that they will go and learn even more. They are like ready, they say, now I feel that I would be even more motivated to learn my second role, because the next time I can show my new friends how much I progressed.
Yeah, so it sounds a bit like a mutually strengthening kind of thing. That
yeah,
like you
That's
want to. Sorry.
That is the idea of Totally in Tango. To
Yes,
motivate.
because it can be a bit tough to find motivation for things like this if you're trying something that is not like typical. Like the typical thing is to just learn your own role and dance with the role you started with. But if you actually want to be a beginner again and learn something new, I mean, that's pretty difficult. Like I tried that many years ago, but I never really took the following seriously enough to really go through with it. And that's also because it was just so unusual. And now it's becoming a bit more usual for men to follow. And now I'm really taking it as well myself more seriously. It's not because it's more accepted, maybe. There's other reasons why I start because I want a different challenge and everything. But it's good to see that it's more normal nowadays. And what I see here in this story is that people they you can have like this wish, like I want to learn how to lead. But then if you also get a nice environment where you are encouraged to actually do this, then it becomes much easier to actually go through with it, to keep doing it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Good. So when do we see you?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes. Well, I my financial options are a bit limited, but otherwise I would have certainly come. But it's I might save some money for it because it's more interesting to me than normal events, because I'm kind of tired of always dancing like a leader, and I've been like stimulating myself to make it more interesting, for example, by keeping learning. So I keep learning the leader's role, but I just feel like right now when I dance, I just want to follow as well. Like I don't want to just lead all the time. I also want to follow, and I'm doing it more and more. But it can be a bit difficult sometimes because I feel like you're really very much in a minority, and it's just tough sometimes. Like Ludo said, like what you experience still at normal events, like it can be so tough. Like I really prefer the cabeceo kind of thing, but I sometimes I really need to ask it verbally, and then people are like, "Oh yeah, okay, why not?" Or they say like, "Yeah, I don't think of it, but when you ask me, it's fine because then I think of it," and it's just like it's a bit awkward.
Yeah,
And when
I
you're at
agree.
your event, when you're at your, sorry for interrupting, but when you're at your event, it's just so normal that everyone does it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, you'll have a blast as well when you come.
Yes, yes, it sounds really interesting that because that's what I understood from talking to you before the interview. I understood that it's really normal for people to switch roles all the time.
It's how you want it, how you both want it. Huh? If you want to dance only one musical phrase in the other role, that is fine. If you want to
Okay.
switch things in a song, both of
Ah,
you,
okay, yes.
that is fine. If you want to switch every other song to equal parts, that is also fine. All is fine. You do what you like in agreement with your partner. And You have fun. So you don't have to change roles during the tango song if you don't like that. Some people really like to dance one song in one role, or even two songs in one role and dance switch, and that is perfectly fine.
And what do most people do? Or is it hard to make a...
There is no most.
Okay.
Well, we don't know.
Really, it all depends on with whom you dance, to what music, what your mood is. There is no most, really. Everything is good, and you do what you like. That's important.
How has promoting this enriched your lives?
Explain the question, please.
Yes, I understand it's a bit vague, but how has it like, so enrich your lives? I mean, like, has made your lives more interesting, more like feel fulfillment because of this, because you are promoting this double role thing.
Well, for example, the last weekend on Sunday, people start asking, Ludo, aren't you tired? And no, Ludo is not tired because he gets a lot of positive energy from all the happy people around him this whole weekend. No, I'm not dancing a lot in my own events because I'm an organizer at that moment. I want to be sure that everything is okay to the best of my abilities. And if I lose concentration on that because I want to go dance, then I'm not doing my utter best to be a good organizer. But it gives me a lot of fulfillment to see all the people being very happy. And if I see somebody not being very happy, to go and have a chat and see what can I do to help. And sometimes I do something and sometimes I can't. Sometimes people have made a wrong choice and it's not really their event. And that is also possible. Huh? I mean, we are not perfect for everybody. We're perfect for that particular person on that particular weekend in that particular mood. But we try our best. And so the fulfillment for me is the happiness, the contentment, the joy of the people of the event. That is how it enriches my life. Once in my previous career, I was unhappy and I did a test saying, okay, what do I have to do? And how do I change my life to be happy in my work again? And out came, I'm a people carer. I didn't understand it at that moment because I was working on a computer as a clerk for an international world company, no people around. But yes, it is what I am. I get fulfillment out of making people happy, honestly. So yes, those tests for your career, they do work.
Okay.
You just have to understand what it means.
Yes. Well, it really worked for you, so that's good. And Julia?
Also, yes, it's not only making people happy, but also knowing, getting in contact with new people and making friends. And we really enjoying this, having close friends in many different countries. And sometimes we visiting them when we are on vacations, or we visiting them when we with our events, and it all makes my world and our world with Ludo quite wider. So we visited such places that we would never been visited without our friends.
Yes.
And also we heard stories that we never would
I've heard.
Yeah, so it's...
So if I understand correctly, then if you're organizing your event, you're not really dancing much because you're working.
Not me. It's not working. We are present for our guests, and yes, it might look like working, but it's not working. I mean, I do not experience this as working. It's not hard. It's with pleasure. It's fun. It's nice. I have no problem that I sleep very few hours during the weekend. I will be the last to leave and the first to be there every day. No problem. It's not work. It's just what needs to be done, and I will do it with pleasure.
But it sounds very professional if you describe it this way. No, but I get your point. It's like a labor of love.
Yes.
So
it's fun.
yeah. So what I wondered then, like, so if this question is too private, please, you can refuse to answer it. But one of the reasons why you organize these events is that you were not really able to dance as much normally as you would like to. But then if you're organizing your own events, then you're the organizer. So you are still like any organizer. You're still like you don't have Totally in Tango events organized by me, whatever, for you. So it's like, do you understand what I'm like? It's
I understand completely what you mean.
There's a contradiction. So you
Yes.
There is
really go.
some contradiction, but
But some events,
there are also other double role events that we frequent as participants. There are not that many yet, but when we go, we meet many of our Totally in Tango dancers, family, and then we have everything that we want. We have a room full of people that dance both roles. We are there as participants. We are on the receiving side with all the people that we like and love. And yes, we participated. We helped this world to build a little bit. So last year we were at 3 events and it was 3 times very, very nice for us. And yes, when we go to regular events, we will meet some of our people that we know and we are in a little family and we can dance how we want to dance as much as we want to with our little family. So yes, the contradiction is there, but not that much actually.
Yeah. That's very well explained.
We still go out to dance socially, yeah. It's not that we only do Totally in Tango events and only do catering events where we cater for. We also have events where we go for ourselves and have fun with all the people.
and on the other hand, some of our events are longer than just a weekend. And then we have more chance to participate more fully as dancers.
Especially if we do not have to take care of the food. If the food is provided by the venue, then we are really not free, but almost free. Then it's easier. Once day one is passed and everything is on rails and people find their way, we can really participate and dive in as well. So there's still a lot of dance pleasure for us as well.
So I think, sorry, yes.
But not in the regular dance weekends. When it's only 3 days, you blink your eyes and it's over. Huh? It starts on Friday, I'm up. Before you know it, it's Sunday after party, and it's over. I mean,
Yes. Do you also dance locally, or just at events?
I find it very important to go to our Wednesday evening milonga here in Bruges. I will go after this interview. We are taking this on Wednesday evening, but yes, I will go. I really find it very important always. When I'm home, I go. I'm often not home, but when I'm home, I really go. Do we dance in Brussels or Ghent? Not very often. I admit, when we are home for a weekend and we're not out dancing somewhere, we will
rather stay home.
Do our laundry.
Yes, live a normal life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Live a normal life.
Get a break.
Yeah.
So has this has your own scene, has it also changed in the double role sense? Has
Yes,
it,
there are many double role dancers in Bruges. We have infected quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. And some do come to our events and some don't, and that is fine.
yes. But that's funny how you make something international, but then maybe it also comes a bit back to where you live. It's
Yeah.
but that's what that's all these things you just described in the last 5 minutes or so. It has to do with the enrichment I described, and maybe people understand the word enrichment as wealth, money, but I mean like it in a metaphorical sense. So it sounds very enriching that you have this whole network of people who are like-minded, and even you even get people in your own local scene now who also do the same. So it sounds like a rich life in a way. So you're probably not millionaires, but it's right. It's more exciting than having a job at a bank. So it sounds like a really interesting life. So I guess I have a few questions left. And the first one has to do with what you just said about where you live. So what measures? Sorry, what effects have you measured on local scenes throughout Europe where you guys are organizing things? Is it actually indeed stimulating double role dancers for locals? Like you said something about Spain, for example.
Well, we did an event in Spain in 2019. The first, was it 19? Yes, it was 19. And we were there again
In 23.
in 23. Same venue, so same local people. And the number of double role dancers had for sure tripled.
You mean the number of
Local dancers participating in the event. And we go to Freiburg. In Freiburg, there is a very active local double role dance teacher. He really teaches in both roles. So there is already a very big stimulus to dance both roles. And just having the fact that Totally in Tango comes by once every year or every year and a half is nice for the local people to see, oh, we're not alone. There are people in France and from
in UK.
From the UK coming to us. So that way, then it gives a boost to the local community.
So, Julia, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes.
Have you seen any interesting effects yourself?
Yeah, so there are many. So just need to put them in a line. So there are many, and yes, indeed, participating in a Totally in Tango event would stimulate your motivation and your ability and reach and you can build your confidence in another role. You find new friends and you visit new places, and it all goes together. And I think there are many people who were visiting from Germany to the UK, and from UK to France, and from France to Sweden, and so we are all feeling like a traveling community, visiting each other. And of course, the tango is always there.
It's funny, because it reminds me. I talked with Augusto Balisano about how the origins of gay tango or queer tango, and at first he needed like his milonga so that men could dance with each other, or whoever could dance with whoever they wanted, because that was not the standard. And now he feels like nowadays, the last 5 years or so, it has become so normal to dance double roles that his milonga is not really necessary anymore. Not in a bad way, because he's still organizing and they're still having fun, but in an emancipatory way, it's not no longer necessary, and that's really interesting. Like, you're really influencing the world in what you do, and this is the same. Like, this is not necessarily queer tango; it's broader than that, and it's really influencing how people dance. Right? It's yeah, it's super interesting.
Yes, a little bit. But don't worry, today we do not, there's no need anymore for totally tango events. I will invent some other type of event.
Okay.
Just keep myself busy.
Yes.
I like, I have easily ideas, and I also like to implement or realize my ideas. And at the moment, I can do this within totally in tango. If that would be no longer needed because it's common sense and commonly done. Everybody dances both roles all the time wherever they want. Then I have already some ideas that I would bring.
Well, maybe we'll talk again in 15 years, and then you'll talk to me about your revolutionary new events in 2030 or whatever, 39. So who knows? But it's yeah, it's yeah, it's but I think it's really obvious from the whole interview, and the interview the events you organize. It's really obvious that you have a kind of power to create things and to yeah, to be original and to persistent with organizing things. It's quite impressive. It's also discipline, I suppose. It's fun, but it's also work maybe sometimes. It's just really impressive. Like it's probably the word I used most in this interview, impressive. But take that as a compliment. So take that as a compliment.
Yay.
Thank you. Good, good.
So maybe the last question I have, so it's more personal. So I might have asked something similar earlier, but I really want to know how has this affected you guys as dancers, as you are Julia as a leader, you are a follower. Um, how have you been able to grow throughout these years of organizing these events and going to other places and seeing more and more people grow? Have you also become better dancers yourselves, something along those lines?
In the beginning, we were taking classes in a reverse role. We just spent several months or years attending weekly classes in reverse role. I was learning leading, and Ludo was learning following. That was interesting for us also as a couple. Taking classes in a couple, it's not always easy, but it helps to learn each other. And of course, we built some experience in leading and in following. And then when you start, when you dance both roles, it becomes that natural that you just stop thinking about what is happening. You really dance totally. Yes, you are not a dancer anymore. You become a dance. So that actually the meaning of totally in tango.
Yeah, yeah, I just understood the meaning.
So you said how does it change our dance? And I mean, 2 weeks ago we were at a learning weekend, double role organized by somebody else. And for us, it was like, okay, we can start all over because we have to deconstruct ourselves now. So it's tango. I mean, it never stops, it never ends, and you continue growing. So my work for the next years is now deconstruct yourself. And I will focus on that with the tools that we've been given. And I know myself, with one good workshop sequence, I can work a long time. So my dance now and my dance in a year or in 2 years will be different.
Yes.
In both roles. So we continue growing, we continue learning, we continue picking up ideas that we find interesting.
Yes. Do you have any? So in the beginning, you talked about the difficulties that men like you find when they're not visible or they cannot dance like they want in a normal event or a local scene. So apart from going to Totally in Tango events, do you have any particular advice for these men how to not be discouraged by these difficulties?
Speak to friends, I would say. Be lady friends, if it's for that dance the other role, or male friends that are open to lead you. But if you really want to dance the other role, take classes, technique classes for followers. That way, because even if you have been dancing many years already as a leader, you do need technique classes as a follower. It's really not the same.
Yeah.
You really need to put in the hours needed to learn it. So, and be forgiving for yourself. It's normal that you make mistakes. So, your friends, take classes, and be gentle with yourself. That's my advice to the men who want to start the other role, but feel a little bit invisible or do not find their.
Because just to be sure, I mean, I know the answer, but just for people who might be listening, just dancing is not enough. Like, like if you're a man and you've been dancing as a leader a long time, and then you want to dance as a follower, it's not enough to just
It's not enough.
dance. No.
It's not enough. Yes, dance, but also take classes, put the energy, focus. And also, it's the same for a follower who wants to start leading. Huh? Organic leading is nice and can be very pleasant, but it has its limits.
Yep.
And if you want to progress, then you will have to go for the technical side and the classes
And practice, yeah.
and practice.
Yes, yes, yes. And is this also something you say to the people who attend your events sometimes, or is it just you keep out of education roles, like you don't really comment?
I don't comment to education. I offer opportunities for people to take classes.
Ah, yes, sure.
Yes, yes, and sometimes we instruct our teachers about a particular themes that they might take in the class. For example, if we feel that we have less space than usually, then we say that this useful theme would be how to dance in a closed space, small space.
To build awareness to the specifications of that event and to build confidence for the people who need it.
Yes, because I've seen the complaints sometimes by especially women who lead, that there are men who follow and then they think following is easy or they don't need lessons, or I don't know how common that is, but I've heard the criticism.
Common criticism. And it's a correct one.
Yeah.
So do you think that, yeah?
Men take it, or many men think, yes, I can dance, so I can follow. And it's not true. you can follow up to a certain point. Just like any good leader can make any person dance. I mean, they do not even have to know tango. You can make them dance if you really want to. And they will think, oh, I can dance. Yes, up to a certain level. And it's the same for men who start to follow.
Yeah, so,
If you want to make it a pleasant experience for your leader as a male follower, then please do take classes.
yes. So do you think this automatically happens in the double role community? Do you think people are like that understand? So it's a really difficult question, but do you think guys understand, or women who is the same? Because you said they also need to invest. Do you think people just automatically pick this information up? So it's a really difficult question, but it's just what I'm curious about.
Well, it's one of the things that Totally in Tango does. It motivates people to improve because when you want to come back, it's normal in our human behavior. We want to be at our best for our new friends. So we try to be a little bit better. So we continue our work, or we work a little bit harder, or we start working. I think it's a byproduct of attending Totally in Tango events.
Okay.
The desire to improve your dance.
Yes, the ambition.
Yes. And it's not that we all have to be gods of tango. We are all good as we are. And if we do improve, that is fine.
That's a very healthy philosophy.
Thank you.
So is there anything I have missed during this interview? Is there anything you want to say that we haven't covered, or that you just realized?
I think we are very, very good covered. Yes,
Okay.
Sorry, what did you say?
I think we're good.
Okay. Well, I think I learned a lot from this, and I think the listeners as well. And like I said, it's a really it's like a cutting edge kind of conversation, because it's really like something really original in a way. And of course, you're not the only ones doing this, but the intensity is pretty like high of what you do. Like it's pretty professional. Like that's the word I used. And I was really happy to talk about it this way. So
Thank you
yeah,
very much.
I'm looking forward to seeing you guys one day. And it sounds like it's really nice to be at an event where everyone just assumes that you can dance the other role, and the reality in tango it's not that way yet. So it sounds like it sounds really good.
it feels also good.
It is. Thank you
can
very, very much for the invitation. Thank you for reaching out to us. It was a pleasure, a real pleasure, this interview. Thank you.